Hey boys and girls, I'm going to go ahead and show you where you can find your assignment for 4.7 in social studies. It's called Show What You Know. It's a creation project and an assessment. You're going to go to your social studies course, and we're looking under the HTS supplemental resources, module 4, and we're looking at 4.7 Show What You Know. There's a creation project and a module 4 checkup. You're going to complete both of those. So let's start by talking about the lesson 4.7 creation project. So I'm going to walk you through what you're going to do for this assignment, and then I'll talk to you about the quiz. So now it's time to have fun showing what you know. Print the project rubric to guide your work. Your teacher will use the rubric to score your project. So step 1, you're going to want to print the creation project rubric, which is down below under attachments. Give that a second to load. Okay, so here are the different criteria. Social studies content, the project presents information that is clear and accurate. Is the information that's provided in your presentation, is it accurate? Social studies understanding, project demonstrates student understanding of the time period, concepts, and topics. Okay, as I'm going through your presentation, I need to see that you understand the content that we covered. Presentation, is your project neat, organized, and easy to understand? Completion, the project contains all required parts, and we're going to go over the required parts. And then creativity, project demonstrates creativity, thought, time, and effort have been taken to create it. Okay, so just make sure you take a look at this criteria of how I'm going to be grading your creation projects. So let's take a look at your different projects. So step 1 was to print and view the rubric. Step 2, you're going to select one of the projects below to complete. Notice there are 3 projects. You only need to complete one of those projects. I'm going to repeat that, one project, okay? So I'm going to go over each of the projects, and then you can decide which one you would like to complete. Project 1, you've just been hired by a children's publishing company. A publishing company is somebody who publishes books, puts books together and puts them out for sale. There has been a surge of popularity and awards given to historical fiction children's books that use narratives to talk about major historical events. You have been given the task of writing and illustrating a children's book through the viewpoint of a 10-year-old child during the 1930s through the 1950s. The book will describe the effects of World War II, the Holocaust, and the aftermath of World War II. Use what you have learned during this module about the political, social, and geographic factors that occurred during the 1930s through the 1950s. You will take on the perspective of a 10-year-old living in the United States during this time period to write a fictional account of historical events that have happened based on what you learned. Write your book in the form of a children's book, just a short story with illustrations. You can use any digital tool you'd like to create your book. So, what you're going to do for project 1, if you choose to do project 1, remember you only have to do one of these projects. If you choose project 1, you are writing a children's book, okay? Just a short story with illustrations. And your children's book needs to come from a perspective or a point of view of a 10-year-old that lives in the United States during World War II, okay? So put yourself back in that time period, 1930s, 1950s, and you're writing a book of what you experienced, what you saw, what you heard during this time period of World War II. What did you hear about the Holocaust? What did you hear about the aftermath of World War II? How did it impact the United States politically, socially, geographically? So that's project 1, writing a children's book, which is just a short story with illustrations. And that book has to have the perspective of a 10-year-old, so the point of view of a 10-year-old and what life was like during that time period of World War II. Okay? And you can create your book digitally, or you can create it on paper. If you do create it in paper and actually make a book, make sure you take a picture of each of the pages, okay, and submit it in sequential order so I can see that. Let's say project 1 you don't want to do, so you also have the option of project 2. Project 2, it says using what you learned in this module, use slides, Keynote, or PowerPoint, or any other presentation tool to create your own presentation about World War II and its political, social, and economic effects on the United States and/or South Carolina. So for this assignment, you're going to create some type of digital presentation about World War II and how World War II affected the United States politically, socially, economically. You can focus on the United States as a whole, or you could focus on just South Carolina. Let's say Project 1 and Project 2 don't interest you, then you also have the option for Project 3, which is to create a digital poster using the digital tool of your choice, showing at least 3 causes and at least 3 effects of World War II. So 3 causes, why did the war happen, and 3 effects, what were the effects of the war? Include how the war affected different groups of people. How did it affect Americans? How did it affect Jews? How did it affect Japanese Americans? How did it affect women? And how did it affect African Americans? So make sure you focus on how the war affected different groups of people. And again, you're going to include political, social, and economic and geographic effects. And for your digital poster, you could do a picture collage, you could use Canva, or if there's something else that you have in mind to create a digital poster, you can use that as well. Let's say you don't want to do a digital poster and you want to do it on paper. That's completely fine. I would say it'd be easier with the digital poster because you can include pictures a lot easier. But if you have a printer or you want to draw pictures and do a paper poster, that's fine with me as well. Okay. Step 3, you're going to look at that creation project rubric and make sure you hit all of those different pieces of the rubric and make sure you follow the directions depending on the project that you chose. And step 4, you're going to upload your completed project to the submission area. So here in the submission area, you'll have your blue plus button where you will attach your work and submit it. So that's the first part of 4.7. Then if you go to this next activity tab, you're going to come to the 4.7 Module 4 checkup, and you'll click Start here, and that will be your Module 4 assessment. Okay, so make sure you do both parts of the Module 4.7 or Module 4 assessment. Okay, the creation project and the checkup or the quiz. Okay.